The cage was smaller than Nyah Williams expected. She'd seen movies about human trafficking. Everyone had. Dark rooms, terrified women, evil men. But she'd never imagined the cage would be so small that she couldn't stand up fully. Never imagined the white dress they'd forced her into would be so thin. Never imagined she'd be here at all. This isn't real. This can't be real. But the cold metal bars were very real. The stage lights blinding her were real. And the men in expensive suits sitting in an underground auction hall, studying her like she was merchandise. They were devastatingly, terrifyingly real. Lot 47, the auctioneer said in accented English. Female, American, age 26, healthy. Starting bid, $50,000. Nyah's hands gripped the bars so hard her knuckles went white. This wasn't happening. 2 days ago, she'd been serving drinks at a bar in Los Angeles. Someone had bought her a shot. A thank you from a customer, or so she'd thought. She'd taken it, felt dizzy within minutes, and woken up here. Wherever here was. The bidding started. Numbers climbed, $60,000, $75,000, $100,000. Men raised paddles like they were buying art, not a human being. Nyah tried to see their faces, tried to memorize them for when, if, she escaped. But the lights were too bright, and terror was making her vision blur. $150,000. A new voice, somewhere in the back. $175,000. Another bidder. $200,000. The numbers kept climbing, and Nyah felt bile rising in her throat. Someone was going to buy her, own her, do God knows what to her. And she was trapped in a cage in a white dress, completely powerless to stop it. $300,000, someone offered. The auctioneer was smiling now. We have $300,000. Do I hear? $2 million. The voice cut through the auction hall like a blade. Cold. Commanding. Speaking Korean, but the numbers were unmistakable. The room went silent. Even the auctioneer looked shocked. $2 million, the voice repeated in English this time. Final offer. Accept it or I walk, and you lose your highest bidder. Nyah's eyes searched the darkness beyond the stage lights. Who would pay $2 million for her? And why? Sold, the auctioneer said quickly, before anyone could counterbid. Lot 47 to Mr. Choi. Congratulations, sir. Guards came to wheel Nyah's cage off the stage. She tried to see who'd bought her, but the lights and her terror made everything a blur. All she saw was a figure standing in the back. Tall, dark suit, absolutely still. Then everything went black as they covered her cage with a tarp, and she was transported to wherever her new owner wanted her delivered. Before we go further, hit like and subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens next. But to understand how Nyah ended up here, we need to go back 3 days. Nyah had been working the evening shift at Moonlight Bar in downtown LA, serving overpriced cocktails to tech bros and aspiring influencers. It was decent money, the tips were good, and it paid her rent while she figured out what to do with her life after her teaching career had imploded. Another round for table 6, her coworker Marcus had called. And the guy in the corner keeps staring at you? Creepy or interested? Nyah had glanced over. Asian man, expensive suit, drinking alone. Creepy. Definitely creepy. Want me to kick him out? Nah, as long as he's paying, he can stare. But the man hadn't just stared. Around 11 p.m., he'd approached the bar. Excuse me. The lady at the end. Nyah, is it? His English was accented but clear. She's an excellent bartender. This is for her. He'd placed a shot glass on the bar. Premium vodka. A thank you for good service. Nyah should have been suspicious, should have refused. But customers buying bartenders' drinks wasn't uncommon, and she'd been tired and stressed and grateful for the gesture. Thanks, she'd said, and downed the shot. The room started spinning within 5 minutes. Marcus caught her when she stumbled, his face panicking. Nyah? Nyah, what's wrong? I don't feel... The words wouldn't come. The room tilted, and darkness swallowed her whole. She'd woken up in a windowless room with 10 other women, all terrified, all speaking different languages. Some were American like her, others were European, Asian, Latina. But they all had one thing in common. They'd been taken. "Where are we?" Nyah had asked. A woman with a British accent had answered, tears streaming down her face. "I don't know, but they're going to sell us. I heard the guards talking. This is a trafficking ring. We're going to be auctioned." And she'd been right. Now, in the covered cage being transported to wherever her buyer wanted her, Nyah tried to control her breathing. Tried not to panic. Tried to think of escape plans even though she had no idea where she was or who'd bought her. $2 million. Who pays $2 million for a person? The cage stopped moving. She heard voices in Korean, sharp, authoritative. Then the tarp was removed, and Nyah blinked against sudden light. She was in what looked like a warehouse. Clean, but industrial. And standing in front of her cage was the man who'd bought her. Korean, probably early 30s, wearing an expensive black suit that fit him like armor. His face was sharp, handsome in a dangerous way, with dark eyes that tracked her every movement. He looked like power personified, the kind of man who gave orders and expected absolute obedience. "Open it," he said in English to one of the guards. The cage door swung open. Nyah pressed herself against the back bars, as far from the opening as she could get. "I'm not going to hurt you," the man said. His voice was surprisingly gentle despite the cold authority in it. "My name is Choi Tae-Min. I just paid an obscene amount of money to get you out of that auction. The least you can do is come out of the cage." "So you can do what? Rape me? Kill me? Sell me to someone else?" "No. So I can get you medical attention, food, and actual clothes instead of that ridiculous dress." He pulled off his suit jacket and held it out. "Please, come out. I promise you're safe with me. Your promises mean nothing to me." "Fair enough. Then believe my actions." He tossed the jacket into the cage. "Put that on. Cover yourself. When you're ready, come out. I'll be waiting." He turned and walked away, leaving the cage door open. Guards stood nearby, but they weren't approaching. Just waiting. Nyah picked up the jacket with shaking hands. It was warm, expensive, and smelled like cologne and something else. Safety, maybe, though that was probably her traumatized brain making things up. She put it on. The jacket swallowed her, but it covered the thin white dress. Then, slowly, she climbed out of the cage. The moment her bare feet hit the concrete floor, Tae-Min turned back. "Good. You're braver than most. Come with me. We'll get you cleaned up, fed, and then we'll talk." "Talk about what?" "About why you're here, who took you, and what happens next." His eyes held hers. "I know you're terrified. I know you think I'm going to hurt you. But Nyah Williams, bartender from Los Angeles, age 26, taken from Moonlight Bar 3 days ago. I'm not your enemy. I'm the man who just saved your life. The least you can do is hear me out." He knew her name, her age, where she'd been taken. That should have terrified her more. Instead, it made her curious. "Who are you, really?" she asked. "I told you, Choi Tae-Min." "That's not what I mean. Who are you that you can pay $2 million for a person and have guards and know everything about me?" He smiled, but it was cold. "I'm the king of Seoul's underworld, a crime lord, a very bad man who occasionally does good things when it suits me. And right now, saving you suited me perfectly." The penthouse Tae-Min took her to was obscene luxury. All glass and chrome and art that probably cost more than Nyah's entire life savings. But more importantly, it had a bathroom where she could finally shower off 3 days of captivity. When she emerged in clean clothes that had been provided, simple but expensive, Tae-Min was waiting with food. Korean dishes Nyah didn't recognize, but her stomach didn't care. She ate like she was starving because she was. "Better?" Tae-Min asked, watching her from across the table. "Better. Thank you." Nyah set down her chopsticks. "Now tell me what's really going on. Why did you buy me at that auction?" "Because the auction was run by the Jade Serpents, a trafficking ring I've been trying to dismantle for 2 years. They operate across Asia and recently expanded into the US. Buying their merchandise and freeing it is the ultimate insult to their operation. So I'm what? A statement? A middle finger to your enemies?" "Partially, but also because you're American, and American victims bring US law enforcement attention that could actually shut them down. Freeing you and getting you home safely will cause more damage to the serpents than any other move I could make. That still doesn't explain why you paid $2 million. Because anything less would have looked weak. In my world, displays of wealth equal displays of power. I needed them to know I can outspend them without blinking." He leaned forward. "But Nyah, I also paid that much because I meant what I said. You're safe with me. I bought you to free you, not to own you. Except now I owe you $2 million. You owe me nothing. That money was an investment in destroying my enemies. You're collateral damage that I'm fixing. There's always a price. Men like you don't do things for free." "You're right. There is a price." His eyes held hers. "I need you to stay here under my protection until it's safe to return you to the US. The serpents will be looking for their lost property. If they find you, they'll take you back or kill you to prove a point. I can keep you safe, but only if you stay where I can protect you." "For how long?" 2, maybe 3 weeks. Until we've dismantled enough of their operation that you're no longer a target. Then I'll personally put you on a plane back to Los Angeles with enough money to start over. And what do I have to do during those weeks? Stay alive. Help me understand American cultural context since I'm dealing with US law enforcement. And trust that I'm not going to hurt you." He paused. "I know that last one is difficult. But Nyah, you have 2 choices. Trust me and stay here where you're protected, or leave and hope the traffickers don't find you before you make it home. Which sounds safer?" He was right, which made Nyah angry. She was trapped. Not in a cage this time, but in a situation where her only option was to trust a self-proclaimed crime lord who'd bought her at an auction. "Fine. I'll stay. But Mr. Choi Tae-Min, we're going to be living together. Use my name. Tae-Min. If you hurt me, if you try to touch me without permission, if you do anything that makes me feel unsafe, I'll find a way to destroy you. I don't care how powerful you are. I'll burn your world down." He smiled. Genuine this time, not cold. "That's the spirit. I was worried you'd be broken, but you're a fighter. Good. You'll need that fire to survive in my world. This isn't my world. I'm a bartender from LA. I don't belong in whatever criminal enterprise you run. You didn't belong in that cage either, but here we are. Sometimes life puts us in impossible situations. We adapt or we die. You strike me as someone who adapts. I don't have much choice. None of us do." He stood. "Your room is down the hall. Second door. Bathroom attached. Clothes in the closet. You're free to move around the penthouse, but don't leave without telling me. I have enemies who'd love to use you against me. Because I'm your property now? Because you're under my protection. There's a difference. Property can be discarded. People under my protection are sacred. Anyone who touches you answers to me. And, Nyah, my enemies know what happens to people who cross me. They know I'm not merciful." He said it like a promise and a threat. And despite everything, Nyah felt safer than she had in days. "Thank you," she said quietly. for buying me, for freeing me, for not being the monster I expected. Don't thank me yet. You haven't seen what I'm capable of when someone threatens what's mine. His eyes held hers. Get some rest. Tomorrow we start planning how to destroy the people who took you. And Nyah, they will pay. That I promise. The first week was an adjustment. Nyah had her own room, her own space, complete freedom within the penthouse. Tae-Min was gone most days handling business he never elaborated on, returning late with exhaustion written in every line of his body. But he kept his promises. He never touched her without permission, never made her feel unsafe. And slowly, she started to see past the crime lord exterior to the man underneath. He was complicated, running legitimate businesses as covers for less legitimate operations, employing former gang members and giving them paths out of crime. And surprisingly, he had rules. No human trafficking, no harming civilians, no targeting women and children. You're in the Mafia, but you have a moral code? Nyah asked one evening over dinner. Everyone has lines they won't cross. Those are mine. He sipped his wine. The world isn't black and white, Nyah. I do terrible things for good reasons. Or maybe I do good things to balance out the terrible. I've stopped trying to figure out which. Why did you really buy me? And don't give me the insult to the serpent's line. There's something else. Tae-Min was quiet for a long moment. My sister was trafficked when she was 17. Taken from Seoul, sold across borders. We spent 2 years looking for her. When we finally found her, she was... He stopped, jaw clenched. She wasn't my sister anymore. What they'd done to her broke something fundamental. She died 6 months later. Suicide. Oh God. Tae-Min, I'm so sorry. Don't be. Be angry. That's what I am. Furious that this happens. That women are treated like property. So yes, I buy trafficking victims when I can. I shut down operations. I destroy the men who profit from this evil. It won't bring my sister back, but maybe it saves someone else's sister. Nyah reached across the table and took his hand. You're not the monster you pretend to be. I'm exactly the monster I pretend to be. I just choose my targets carefully. He squeezed her hand. But thank you for seeing something else. Most people just see the crime lord. Most people haven't been saved by you. Most people I don't save. Over the following days, Nyah learned more about Tae-Min's world. She sat in on strategy meetings about dismantling the Jade Serpents. Met his team, dangerous men who treated her with surprising respect because she was under the boss's protection. And slowly, inevitably, she started to see Tae-Min not as her savior or her captor, but as a man she was falling for. This is stupid, she told him one evening. I'm getting Stockholm Syndrome or something. Stockholm Syndrome requires captivity. You're free to leave anytime. I'll arrange protection and transportation. And if I don't want to leave? He looked up from his laptop, eyes sharp. Why wouldn't you want to leave? Because maybe I'm starting to care about you. Maybe I want to see how this ends, the fight against the serpents. Maybe I'm curious about the man who saves trafficked women while running a criminal empire. Nyah, don't romanticize what I am. I'm dangerous. Being close to me gets people killed. Then protect me. Isn't that what you do? From my enemies, not from myself. He closed the laptop. You should go home. Back to LA. Back to your normal life. Forget about me in this world. What if I don't want normal? What if normal is boring after being rescued by a crime lord? Then you're more damaged than I thought. Or maybe I just recognize something real when I see it. She moved closer. Tae-Min, you've been protecting me for 2 weeks, keeping me safe, treating me with more respect than men who claim to love me. You're a good man pretending to be bad. I'm a bad man who occasionally does good things. Don't confuse the two. Then kiss me. Prove you're as bad as you claim. The challenge hung between them. Tae-Min stood slowly, moving toward her with predatory grace. When he was close enough to touch, he stopped. If I kiss you, it changes everything. You stop being just someone I rescued. You become mine. And I protect what's mine with lethal force. People die, Nyah. Are you ready for that? If those people are traffickers? Yes. He kissed her then, soft at first, testing. Then deeper as she kissed back, both of them giving in to the attraction they'd been fighting for 2 weeks. His hands came up to frame her face, gentle despite the violence she knew he was capable of. This is a terrible idea, he murmured against her lips. The best ones usually are, Nyah replied. The attack came in week 3. Nyah was in the penthouse kitchen when she heard the explosion. Glass shattered, alarms screamed, and Tae-Min's guards were suddenly everywhere, moving with military precision. "Get down!" one of them shouted, pushing Nyah behind the counter. Gunfire. Lots of it. Men shouting in Korean. More glass breaking. Then Tae-Min was there, pulling her up, his face cold and focused. "We need to move. Now. They've breached the building." "Who?" "The serpents. They found you. And they brought an army." He pulled a gun from somewhere and handed it to her. "Do you know how to use this?" "I'm from LA. I took self-defense classes after a friend was attacked. Yes, I know how to shoot." "Good. Stay behind me. If anyone gets past me, you shoot first and ask questions never. Understand?" They moved through the penthouse toward a back exit Nyah hadn't known existed. Guards flanked them, engaging enemies that seemed to be everywhere. Tae-Min moved like violence personified, efficient, brutal, keeping himself between Nyah and danger at all times. They made it to an elevator disguised as a closet. Tae-Min shoved her inside, turned to his guards. "Get her out. Underground garage, car 3, code whiskey 7. Go." "What about you?" Nyah grabbed his arm. "I'm staying. These men attacked my home. I'm going to make sure they regret it." "Tae-Min, go. Trust me. I'll find you when this is done." He kissed her hard. "Stay alive. That's an order." The elevator doors closed, and Nyah was whisked away to safety while the man she'd fallen for stayed behind to fight an army. The safe house was an apartment in a nondescript building in Seoul's outskirts. Nyah waited there for 6 hours with 2 guards who spoke minimal English, terror eating at her insides. He has to be okay. He has to be. When the door finally opened, Tae-Min walked in, bloodied, exhausted, but alive. Nyah ran to him, throwing her arms around him despite the blood staining his clothes. "You're alive. Takes more than a trafficking ring to kill me." He held her tight. "Are you hurt?" "No. Your guards protected me, but Tae-Min, they came for me. This is my fault. This is their fault for existing. And Nyah? They're not going to exist much longer. What they did today, attacking my home, trying to take you, that was a declaration of war. And I'm very good at war." Over the next week, Tae-Min systematically dismantled the Jade Serpents. Raids on their operations. Arrests by law enforcement who suddenly had mountains of evidence. Key members disappearing. It was brutal, efficient, and absolutely ruthless. "You're destroying them," Nyah observed one evening. "I'm removing them from existence. No one threatens what's mine and survives." He pulled her close. "You're mine now, Nyah. Maybe that's selfish, maybe it's wrong, but I'm not letting you go. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking to stay, to be part of your life, to help however I can. You want to stay in Seoul? With a crime lord? Giving up your normal life?" "My normal life was serving drinks and wondering what I was doing with my existence. This, being with you, feels like purpose. Like I'm part of something that actually matters. Even though it's dangerous? Especially because it's dangerous." She kissed him. I'm not leaving, Tae-Min. You saved me from that cage. Now let me choose to stay with you. Not because I owe you, because I love you. You can't love me. I'm a crime lord who saves trafficking victims, who has a moral code, who protected me when you could have used me, who looks at me like I'm precious instead of property. She cupped his face. I can love you. I do love you. The real you. Not the monster you pretend to be. Loving me will complicate your life. My life's already complicated. Might as well make it interesting too. He pulled her into a kiss that tasted like promises and danger, and a future neither of them had planned, but both of them wanted. Epilogue. 1 year later, the trafficking ring was gone, dismantled by a combination of Tae-Min's ruthless efficiency and law enforcement acting on mysteriously acquired evidence. Women who'd been held were freed. The men responsible faced justice, legal or otherwise. And Nyah Williams, former bartender from LA, became something unexpected. The woman who stood beside Seoul's most feared crime lord. Not as property, not as a rescued victim, but as an equal partner in a life that was anything but normal. Do you regret it? Tae-Min asked one evening, holding her on the balcony of their new penthouse. Staying here? Giving up your old life? Not even a little. Though I do miss good Mexican food. Seoul's taco situation is tragic. He laughed, a sound that still surprised her with its genuine warmth. I'll fly you to LA whenever you want tacos. Consider it a perk of loving a crime lord. The best perk of loving you is you. Everything else is just bonus. She kissed him. Thank you. For what? For saving me. For seeing me as a person instead of property. For giving me purpose. For loving me back. Thank you for not running when you realized what I am. For staying when you could have fled. For loving a man who doesn't deserve it. You deserve everything good. You just don't believe it. She paused. Though I am curious, that auction, if I hadn't been there, would you have bought someone else? Yes. I buy as many as I can afford. Free them, get them home safely. It's the least I can do. Because of your sister. Because it's right. Because no one should be in a cage. Because I have the resources to make a difference. So I do. Nyah looked at the man who'd bought her for $2 million to set her free, who'd protected her with lethal force, who'd given her a choice to stay or go and respected her decision. I love you, she said. I love you too. My fierce bartender who wasn't afraid to threaten a crime lord. He held her closer. Thank you for choosing me, for choosing this dangerous, complicated life. Thank you for giving me a life worth choosing. And in Seoul, far from the auction house where this impossible story began, a woman who'd been bought learned that sometimes the worst moments lead to the best futures. That being saved by a monster could mean finding out he was human all along. That love could bloom even in the darkest places. All it took was a crime lord with a conscience, a bartender with fire, and an auction that became the beginning instead of the end. The end. Would you stay with the crime lord who saved you? Could you fall for someone who bought you? Tell me in the comments.